It is very easy sometimes to make very judgmental statements. But on hindsight, when you reflect, how does it work for you to get there? Today, His Excellency was speaking to a forum. He'll explain a little more. Hinga has explained a little. And believe you me, it is easier to make a fortune. But it is harder to make a difference. It is easier to make the easy decisions. But it is harder to make the decisions that have an impact. We must ask ourselves, have we been making the easier decisions? And then cumulatively, it is time for us to make the harder decisions. And the president today is the man in the tight corner, because as we kicked the can down the road over the years, the road has come to an end and he can no longer kick the can, and he has to make the serious decisions. That is the fundamental question. Hilo ndio swala nyeti ambalo ni lazima tuchangie, tutafakari na tuzungumuze. Deliberately nitasema sio social media, sio mtandao. Mtandao ni hadithi za jaba. Ukweli ni kukanyaga barabara. Rais wetu amekuwa akikanyaga barabara.
We have a country to look after. I did promise that I will lead from the front. I want to tell you, I will lead from the front. Yes. Because I have a job to do. I told you, it's not always that you get an opportunity to be president. And it is my responsibility to make a difference. Tough as the choices are, difficult as the decisions are, I will make those decisions so that we can move the country forward. Because if I don't, we will mark time. I mean, for me, many people tell me, oh, you should not have made too many difficult decisions in your first term. You should have waited so that you can do them in your second term. My friends, if I can do it in 5 years, why do I need to wait for 10 years? Let me do it. Are we together? Yes. Because these decisions we've always postponed. We have to make them. Somebody has to make these decisions. I have decided that I am the person to make these decisions for Kenya so that we can change our country. So that we can change our country. Are we together? So that we can change our country. I could choose to be popular, to make convenient decisions, but that's not me. Let me make the decisions that will change Kenya, and I am very proud that we are moving the country forward. Over the last 2.5 years, 4 things have happened to the economy because of the decisions we've made. Number 1, inflation has come down from 9.6. Check it today. It is 3.8. Number 2, our exchange rate, which was close to 165 for the last 14 months, our exchange rate is at 129, down from 165. What is the position of our dollar reserves? It's gone up from $6 billion as of last month. It was $11.8 billion, our dollar reserves. It's gone up from 2.5 months of import cover. We are now at 5 months of import cover. If you follow World Economics, IMF last month announced that Kenya has moved from being the 8th largest economy in Africa in 2022 to being the 6th largest economy in Africa this year. So the decisions we made, difficult as they were, has given us dividends. Our exchange rate has stabilized. Inflation has come down. And our numbers are looking good. It is a commitment I made to the people of Kenya. It is a commitment I am willing to do an exam on as to whether I passed or I did not. Number 2, you know very well that when we were running for office, we had a huge problem of cost of living. Unga was retailing at 240. We had many other issues. And I made a decision that we are not going to continue subsidizing consumption. And I said it in black and white, that instead of subsidizing consumption, which never solves any problem, we were instead going to invest in production. It is the reason why we put more money, not in subsidizing unga, not in subsidizing fuel. We put more money in subsidizing fertilizer, seeds, and the agricultural sector. We managed to bring down the cost of fertilizer from about 6,500. I remember when I discussed with KTDA, down to 3,500, and finally down to 2,500. We managed to subsidize seeds. We managed to work with the farmers. We registered all the farmers. For the first time, government of Kenya was working on data. We had never registered our farmers ever since. But today, I can confidently tell you we have 6.5 million farmers. We know those who do coffee. We know everybody's farm, the size. We know those who do tea. We know every farmer's detail. And we can direct subsidies to the people who need it most. Because of the process we have gone into, modernizing agriculture, building information into it, bringing technology into the agricultural space, making the right subsidies in production, not in consumption. Let me give you the statistics for last year. Our maize production has gone up by 50%. From 44 million bags last year, we harvested 64 million bags. This year, we are targeting 75 million bags. The people who used to carry sufurias in the streets, led by Mbadi here, yeah, have left the streets because the price of unga has come from 240, is now 160, 140, 120. Tea. In 2022, we sold our tea exports and sales were 138 billion. Last year, our tea was 215 billion. Those of you sitting here who grow coffee, a kilo of coffee was 65 shillings in 2022. A kilo of coffee today is between 110 and 150. Why? We have subsidized fertilizer. We have chased away the cartels. The people who are registered as farmers, brokers, millers, and also buyers at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. We have gotten rid of them, and we have streamlined that sector. Farmers are making more money. It is a commitment I made that I would do, and I can proudly tell you that today we are making more money from our agriculture. I can confidently tell you today we have streamlined the sugar sector, which had big problems. Because of the interventions we've done in the agricultural sector, we have reduced imports of maize, for example, by 80%. And we have reduced imports of sugar by 70%. Let me tell you this. We have been spending 500 billion Kenya shillings every year to import food, to import edible oil, to import sugar, maize, wheat, rice, 500 billion shillings every year. It is my intention, at least this year, I have reduced from 500 billion to 280 billion. I've cut off 220 billion. My intention is to cut it down to zero. And we can do it in 3 to 5 years. And it is the reason why, it is not by miracle, it is the reason why we have more money in our foreign exchange. The reason why our foreign exchange has grown from $6 billion to 11.8 is because we are using less of our money to import food which we can grow locally. Are we together? Yes. It doesn't require any magic, doesn't require any rocket science. It just requires making the right decisions. We all know here that education is the equalizer that makes all of us equal. All children equal. We had a problem with the CBC. I remember when we were in the campaign trail, many people said we should abolish CBC because parents did not know what was going to happen. They didn't know where junior school was going to be. It was not clear. So when I got into office, the first thing I did was to set up a task force led by Professor Munavu, and I put there very seasoned educationists and other professionals. They came up with a roadmap, which we quickly implemented to sort out CBC. We had huge problems with our university funding model. 23 universities were technically bankrupt. Many of them were paying half salary to their lecturers. You know that, cases of Egerton and many of the others. And we had very serious and acute shortage of teachers. So what has happened? Over the last 2.5 years, number one, we have hired 76,000 teachers. We are hiring another 24,000 teachers before January. So we will have 100,000 new teachers teaching our children. Number two, we have changed the funding model from being resources to the university. We now have a student-centered financing model that makes sure that we treat every student fairly so that students from poor families can get up to 90% government scholarship. Because it is necessary for us to make sure that every child has an equal chance to education and an equal chance at life. We have also expanded infrastructure because there was clarity that many of our schools did not have adequate classrooms. Many of them had never seen a laboratory. So we have put up 23,000 new classrooms. 1,600 new laboratories are being built from 1st of this month. so that we can create sufficient infrastructure to give an equal chance to all our children to do their education. So in that space, again, you had, there was kelele, because we said, you know, how do we, my child, I pay 200,000 every term in an academy, you know? But when I'm told, pay 50,000 a year, not a term, 50,000 a year for university, I have a problem with it. You know, because we have to live within our means. We couldn't afford to pay for all our children in university. So we had to reorganize that funding model, and that's why we made it student-centered. We also agreed, and you heard me speak about it, about health. And I did say, health is not a privilege for those who can afford. Health is a right for every Kenyan. And as a result, we needed to change the health delivery mechanism because it wasn't sensitive. We had NHIF that did not quite reach out to people who did not either have a job. It was based on people who have a job and those who can afford. But everybody gets sick. It's not those who can afford and those who have a job. Everybody gets sick. And the Constitution, Section 43, says every Kenyan, mandates government, in fact, commands government to make sure that every Kenyan has access to health. So we put together our universal health coverage plan. I can now tell you with a lot of confidence, all right, that we have a health insurance scheme that leaves no Kenyan behind. I can tell you that. And I want you to try it, right? I want you to try it. Because in the old NHIF, in fact, it was destined to collapse because we had accumulated debts of 30 billion shillings, and it was growing by $1.5 billion every year. It wasn't reducing. So it was destined to crash at some point. So what did I do? We changed the law. We had to start from zero because we had tried to operate with the law the way it was. It failed once, it failed twice, it failed 3 times. It was clear to me that we had something that was fundamentally wrong. So we worked on a new bunch of laws. We replaced the NHIF Act with 5 pieces of legislation. Thankfully, Parliament passed the laws. We changed the contribution structure. Today, the law demands that each and every one of us, from Mama Mboga to the president, pays 2.75% of their income to SHA for health insurance. The small people have come down from 10% to 2.75%. The big guys like myself and you guys seated here have come from down. We are now, all of us, at 2.75%. That's how I became Sakayo. We have closed down 1,000 fake hospitals. 1,000. And we are closing a few in the next coming days. Because there are still those who want to change. For example, somebody has gone there for an outpatient. They want to change it to be an inpatient so that they can claim more money. Those ones, we are going to shut them down. And we're going to make sure that the program is clean. What have we done? We deploy technology. Today, there are no exercise books. Whenever you went to hospital, you would carry a small slip, then the doctor writes something there, and then you go to the next place, and then we stop that. Now we have moved to a digital platform. admissions are digital, discharge is digital, claims are digital, and we can track. That is why it is easy for us to discover who is doing what game. Just for you to understand the numbers, in the last 8 months, we have paid for treatment of 4.9 million Kenyans under SHA, and we have paid 53 billion Kenya shillings. By the end of the year, we will have paid something in the order of between 75 or 80 billion Kenya shillings for treatment. NHIF used to pay between 20 and 25 billion shillings every year. SHA is going to be paying 3 times because we have brought more people into the equation. It is no longer a preserve for those who can afford. It is now a right for every Kenyan. And that is my plan. A whole construction industry is developing in Kenya. We have a pipeline of 700,000 houses. You've seen the numbers here. And we are going to not only create jobs, not only create industries, but we are also going to have to get rid of the 7 million Kenyans who today live in slums. And we are going to have, better living conditions, places of dignity. Sometimes, you find some arguments. Oh, who told this man that we needed houses? I get those kind of things many times. But you see, ask yourself, somebody who shares a toilet with 5 other families, one that you have to pay to use, people who there is no road, electricity much more expensive, water is much more expensive, living in Kenya. For those of us who live in houses that have 2, 3, 4, 5 toilets, you take them for granted. There are people who don't have a toilet. In fact, many of the people that we've given social houses in Mukuru, the best thing they celebrate is not the house. It is the fact that they have a toilet of their own. I mean, look at that. Look at that. That's how serious it is. And that is how so much of indignity that sometimes people live in, which we take for granted. And that is why we ask silly questions. Who told you we needed houses? As you are aware, Kenya has the best human capital anywhere in the world. We speak the best English. I say we are only second to the British. Yes. We speak the best English. Anywhere, ask any corporate, anywhere in the world, they will tell you Kenyans speak the best English. And we have the best education. And we are the least supervised when we are given a job. So we have the best human capital. And today, we have streamlined with the assistance of the State Department of Diaspora, working with the Ministry of Labor. We have streamlined, apart from the jobs we are creating in our housing and other public sector infrastructure, we have now identified labor mobility, that Kenyans being a strong workforce, we can work anywhere in the world. And we can work anywhere in this globe. And that is why we have straightened, we've made it much more clear. We have eliminated characters who are taking advantage of Kenyans. There was a lot of fraud. We had 1,600 registered, those agencies, they're called what? Yes, private recruitment agencies. We had 1,600 of them. Many of them were crooks. We deregistered almost 900 of them because they had one problem or another. We demanded that any job placement must be put on the portal. We now have a portal so that we can make sure that we can track any Kenyan who is going to work outside Kenya. We must know where they are going, which company is employing them, how much are they being paid, what kind of job are they doing, and how do we get them to come home when it is necessary. And that's the job Roslyn has. Because we have streamlined that whole space, we now have a good record of Kenyans working abroad. In the last 2 years, ever since we streamlined that space, how many Kenyans have we placed there, Roslyn? 400,000 Kenyans. You know, when I say this, people cannot fathom, they can't believe it. But that's the reality. And the statistics are there. And for your information, our remittances from Diaspora remittance has gone up from $4 billion in 2022. We are now at $4.95 billion. We have almost $1 billion more. That is 120 billion shillings more because of the more Kenyans that are now working outside Kenya. Hamjambo? Mko salama? Mko area? Bas hata mimi niko area.
Because he's probably done now. So why housing now? And the land is okay. We are food insecure. Food for growing food. What have we been doing in the recent years? Converting arable land into, if you look at our traditional bread basket, and then someone posted the other day and said, na nijenge nyumba yangu. You see, so on one hand, we are food insecure, but that's why we are building homes in every, if you're a parent and you want to be, so I want to finish. Now, I told you.
Going to help facilitate things today. Now, we have something that has been a part of our conversations. And they're going to have very, very short, I'm going to give them a very short.
Start where our agenda is enhancing or building our forex reserves for remittance, and that is where you come in. And we appreciate too. We have realized that out of what comes, we know that ile investment ni munapenda sana area of real estate, so that you are going to do it for residential, and you think ukituma pesa nyumbani.
I've been told to spend 10 minutes on colonial government. And believe you me, that if you come and put up a structure like this one here, I was a small boy, I was still in high school. Some of the conditions were like we needed to raise more taxes, we needed to raise more revenue. Ratios of mortgage to GDP in the world.
I think you can leave it. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay.
We are expanding the space in our digital jobs ecosystem. We now have 185,000 people working on our digital jobs platform. From CCI, if you go to Ruiru, you will find 5,000 people working in one building at CCI. And you find many other smaller, including in our TVETs. There are many Kenyans now who are earning in dollars, working on the digital platform because we have streamlined that space, and it's the reason why we are spreading fiber optic around Kenya. So you should just know that apart from sometimes the many insults in the social media, there are people who are using the internet to earn real money.